We spend much of our lives searching for answers, searching for meaning, searching for purpose. But what if the greatest discovery we could ever make isn't out there, in the world around us, but deep within ourselves? Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, believed that true life begins not when we acquire external things, but when we find ourselves, when we reconnect with who we truly are at our core. Jung called this journey individuation, a lifelong process of integrating all parts of our personality, both the light and the shadow, the conscious and the unconscious. For most of us, life is shaped by the expectations, beliefs, and roles imposed by society. But Jung warned that this is not the true self. The true self, Jung argued, is something far deeper, something more mysterious. It is the sum of all our parts, the dreamer, the thinker, the emotional being, and the untamed forces that lie within. As Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. It is in those quiet, introspective moments that we begin to peel away the layers that mask our true nature. Individuation is not an easy path. It is not about the pursuit of fame or wealth. It is about diving into the depths of our psyche, facing the parts of ourselves we've denied or repressed. These hidden parts are not our enemies. They are parts of us that long for integration. Jung spoke of the shadow, the unconscious aspects of ourselves that we refuse to acknowledge. But confronting the shadow, he said, is how we unlock our true power and begin to evolve. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, Jung told us. When we accept the shadow, we no longer live in denial of our fears or flaws. We learn to integrate them, bringing balance and wholeness. Only then does life begin, not as a quest for perfection, but as a beautiful unfolding of who we truly are. But individuation is not a solitary journey. Jung believed that to truly find ourselves, we must also encounter others. Relationships become mirrors, reflecting parts of us that we cannot yet see. Through these connections, we are given the chance to grow, learn, and evolve. In relating to others authentically, we also connect with something greater, the collective unconscious. This shared reservoir of archetypes, myths, and symbols connects us all, offering deeper insight into our own personal journey. And so, life begins. Not when we have all the answers, not when we've reached some final destination, but when we start to live authentically. To be fully awake, to be fully human, is to engage in the ongoing journey of self-discovery. It is the act of stepping into our full potential, saying, I am who I am, and I am becoming more every day. Life begins when you find yourself, not in an external goal, but in the unfolding process of discovering who you truly are. And in that discovery, life becomes richer, deeper, and more meaningful than ever before. The shadow self, embracing your dark side. Within each of us lies a hidden realm, a part of our psyche that we often avoid, deny, or fear. It's called the shadow, the unconscious part of our personality that holds the traits, impulses, and emotions we prefer to keep buried. Carl Jung believed that the shadow isn't just a collection of negative traits. It's a powerful force that contains both the parts of ourselves we repress and the untapped potential we often overlook. By avoiding the shadow, we distance ourselves from the wholeness of who we truly are. But what happens when we embrace it? Jung believed that confronting the shadow is the key to individuation, the process of becoming who we are meant to be. It is the path of self-realization, where we integrate our conscious self with the unconscious, bringing balance to our psyche. The shadow, Jung argued, doesn't simply represent the bad parts of us. It's also where we store repressed talents, unacknowledged desires, and the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable. These aspects can be as creative, loving, and powerful as they can be destructive, impulsive, and chaotic. But here's the paradox. The more we repress these aspects of ourselves, the more they control us from the shadows, shaping our behavior in ways we can't see. They may manifest in dreams, projections onto others, or even in destructive patterns in our relationships. To live fully, we must turn and face the shadow, Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The key to this transformation lies in the act of embracing what we fear, integrating the rejected parts of our soul, and finding the strength in our vulnerabilities. When we face the shadow, we come to understand it's not an enemy, but a vital part of our totality. By acknowledging it, we reclaim our energy, creativity, and authenticity. The path to integration is not easy. It requires courage, vulnerability, and self-compassion. It demands we look honestly at our flaws, our insecurities, and the parts of us we've pushed away. But as we bring these elements into the light, we start to heal. We become whole. When we embrace our shadow, we begin to see the world differently. The people we project our fears onto become mirrors of ourselves. We stop running from discomfort and start engaging with life in its entirety, both the light and the dark. The shadow is not a curse, but a source of power. The energy we once used to repress it can now be harnessed to fuel our growth, creativity, and emotional resilience. Jung's wisdom reminds us, the more we own the dark within us, the more we free ourselves to live fully in the light. It is through this integration that we discover our true self, not in perfection, but in the beautiful complexity of being human. Within each of us, regardless of gender, resides a mysterious, often hidden aspect of our personality, the anima and the animus. These are the inner archetypes of the feminine and the masculine that exist in both men and women, according to Carl Jung. Jung's exploration of these archetypes speaks to the balance and integration of the opposite energies within us. The anima represents the feminine aspect, the nurturing, intuitive, emotional side of our psyche. The animus, on the other hand, represents the masculine aspect, the rational, assertive, and logical energies. We often think of these qualities as separate, gendered roles, but Jung believed that both the anima and the animus are essential for wholeness. They are the bridges to our inner depths and act as guides for our development, often surfacing in dreams, fantasies, and projections onto others. For men, the anima represents a connection to their own emotional depth. She is the voice that calls them to embrace their softer, more intuitive nature. Without this connection, a man may become rigid, overly logical, or disconnected from his true feelings. For women, the animus represents the aspect of strength, assertiveness, and rationality. It is the part of the psyche that encourages a woman to stand in her power, to think clearly and act decisively. Without the animus, a woman may feel overwhelmed by emotions or unable to assert herself in the world. But the journey of integrating the anima and animus is not without its challenges. Projection is often a key issue. When we are not consciously aware of these inner forces, we tend to project them onto others. A man may idolize a woman as the perfect embodiment of the anima, or a woman may idealize a man as the perfect embodiment of the animus. But these projections are not about the other person. They are reflections of the parts of ourselves we have not yet integrated. Jung taught that the integration of the anima and animus is one of the keys to individuation, the process of becoming whole. By embracing both the feminine and the masculine within, we can transcend societal gender norms and create a more balanced, authentic version of ourselves. When the anima and animus are fully integrated, they guide us toward deeper wisdom, creativity, and harmony. We no longer rely solely on the external world to define our masculine or feminine traits. Instead, we learn to embody both energies, with the softness of the feminine and the strength of the masculine, in ways that feel authentic and true to who we are. Jung believed that the journey toward balance was an ongoing one. It was about living in harmony with these internal archetypes and acknowledging them as necessary aspects of our totality. They are not opposites, but complementary forces that, when united, create the fullest expression of our humanity. Through the anima and animus, we come to know ourselves more deeply, and in doing so, we experience a more profound connection with others, with life, and with the world around us.